On the cold ground, he helplessly used the tears at the corner of his eye to silently apologize to the girl in the distance. Jinghua's surgery was a smashing success, but on his face, there wasn't a hint of joy because of that man who once promised never to leave. Suddenly, that man vanished into thin air, leaving no trace. Not even the police could find him. To make matters worse, the house full of sweet memories was about to be demolished. He had indeed regained his sight. However, he had genuinely fallen into darkness. On moving day, a package that had been sent ages ago finally arrived. When Jinghua opened it, it was the hairband that Zheming had given him. Following the package address, he went to the hospital and found the burned man. This was precisely Zheming's plan. Before Jinghua's surgery, he considered confessing the accident but lacked courage, fearing Jinghua would give up treatment. So he had to let the truth surface to another person to ease his conscience. Suddenly feeling wet, the harsh reality stabbed into his heart like a sharp blade. He arrived at the lake where they first fell in love, sitting there for what felt like ages, finally deciding to clutch the pebble tightly in his palm. Jinghua's longing for Zheming grew stronger, attempting to recall his image through the tactile memories, but no matter how hard he tried, all he could conjure was a vague and cold silhouette. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye 2 years passed. Sticking to the plan, he rejected many fantastic suitors and remained in place, waiting for that one person to appear. Outside of his regular job, Jinghua often volunteered at the hospital. One day, as usual, he was focused on giving an elderly man a massage when his voice unexpectedly caused the man next door to wake up and turn his head. Zheming, missing for 2 years, turned his face to the pillow at the familiar sight. Now, with restored sight, he looked stunning and radiant, and tears had already escaped his eyes. He fought to contain his trembling body, turning his head back once more. Whether out of guilt or due to his current state, he could neither dare nor could he acknowledge him. 2 years bedridden caused Zheming's muscles to atrophy, yet the hands on his back momentarily froze. For a brief moment, he almost recognized him, if only he could raise his head. What he saw was still a stranger. Looking at the scarred face, he smiled gently, but hope once again slipped away from his eyes. After Jinghua left, the right hand whose neck had turned white slowly relaxed, and the throat tightened like a violin string, began to twitch uncontrollably. But once he felt better, Zheming took advantage of Jinghua's absence to step into his little workshop. He bought the fragrant leaf flower, and while the clerk was looking, he sneakily took his little turtle, not wanting to be a burden to Jinghua. He decided to leave for good. However, the fully grown Y had not forgotten his master and forced Zheming to trip and fall. Jinghua swiftly rushed over to Zheming, helping him up with an apologetic expression on her face as she carefully scrutinized his familiar features. Zheming smiled and shook his head before hurriedly walking away, and at that moment Y started to feel anxious. He gazed where his master left, wagging tail and barking anxiously. Perhaps only Y understood. In that moment, Zheming felt excruciating pain and reluctance. Soon, Jinghua returned to the store only to suddenly realize the little turtle on the shelf was nowhere to be found. He asked the clerk, who had no clue either, just as he heard Y barking incessantly behind him, and it was pointing where that man had gone. Suddenly, it seemed like he remembered something, and tears welled up in his eyes as his heart began to race. "Are you the man who just touched his neck, correct?" "Yes." "That's the guy." At that moment, Jinghua finally realized that the man easily tackled by Y in the hospital was no other than his dream partner, who could do it all. He rushed out of the room. Facing the opposite way as he left, his throat did a somersault, causing him to choke back a sob. And finally, amidst the crowd, the man who lit up his entire world disappeared once again into darkness. After regaining a bit of composure, Jinghua drove towards the hospital, but on the way, the staff informed him that Zheming had been discharged 2 weeks ago. The car came to a screeching halt by the roadside. Jinghua's head thumped against the steering wheel, feeling like the whole world had turned against him. Just as despair set in, a familiar place appeared in his mind. By the sparkling lake, Zheming took his little turtle out of the bag. He placed it into the water. Fate played a trick, forcing him to express his love for the man he cherished in this way. The spot where they used to sit together had completely disappeared, replaced by a set of chairs and tables placed there by unknown persons. Zheming approached and was immediately captivated by a blind kiss note, which was precisely the message left by Jinghua. But why is it that for an entire day, all I can see is my own face and nothing else? Look at me, please. Pay attention to me. Look at me now. I like you. True love is a journey of soulmates, coming together over the long years. It is a process where two stars gradually draw nearer, rescuing each other, not a brief fireworks display of passion. While dazzling, yet fleeting. In love, each person is a unique individual. Everyone has their own stories and past experiences. Understanding and tolerance are key to long-lasting love. Just like with Zheming and both of them share painful pasts and struggled through destiny's mire, yet in the face of adversity, they chose to understand each other's pain.